Hi there. I was going to talk about the election beforehand, and I didn't in the end. But having seen the hung parliament in the United Kingdom and seeing the what's been happening, and I've just seen on the BBC News that Gordon Brown, the current leader of the Labour Party and our former Prime Minister, has decided to resign as leader of the party. And I think, and this is why I voted for the Labour Party, because I think, a lot of the press, the media, have attacked him when he's only done what is expected of a Prime Minister. It's interesting to note that he's blamed for the economic problems in here in the UK, which maybe he is partly to blame for that, although he wasn't the Prime Minister at the time of those changes, he was the Chancellor. Yes, I know that's to do with the money, but also a lot of these things were also to do with what happened in America. It's interesting to note that all the policies that Obama set for trying to cap this problem were ones that he lifted from Gordon Brown that we'd already done, and it was Gordon Brown that led the way out of this problem because of his experience. And it's interesting to note that when President Obama talked about these things, everyone thought that was great. But when Gordon Brown talks about exactly the same things, no one does, because it's a personality thing, which has got nothing to do with politics. And this is a problem that the media likes to play with. And that makes you wonder about people, that how are they then actually voting? They're voting for someone they like, or they're voting for the actual policies? Because they will like exactly the same thing that Obama says, but not when Gordon Brown says it, just because it's Gordon Brown. And that's why I voted for them, because I believed that this was wrong. And now Nick Clegg, who is Faust in the whole of this affair, has become Faust by trying to sell his soul to the Conservative Party. And any good that Nick Clegg has done is going to be wasted if he decides to work with the Tories, who are as much far apart that they could possibly be. The party he should be working with is Labour, and I suspect that Gordon Brown has done the honourable thing and has resigned because Nick Clegg, I suspect, in his arrogance, because he believes that he's now an important person because of all this media furore, that he can talk nicely, is that he's asked, I suspect, for Gordon Brown to resign because he doesn't like the man. They never really got on with each other, although this has got nothing to do with politics. They should, Liberals and Labour are very close to each other, and I suspect, if the Lib Dems actually did side with the Tories, a lot of Lib Dem supporters would be very angry, because if they were given a second vote, I don't think they would vote for Tories. I think they would vote for Labour. Even I mixed between the two, the Lib and Labour, but it was a tactical vote to keep out the Tories, which is why I start with Labour, and also because I believe that Gordon Brown deserved the chance that the media don't want to give him, just because he's not media friendly, because he's he speaks ordinary and he's an ordinary person, and the media hate that. They hate that because he's not he's not like Tony Blair, who can sweet talk people. Yet have we not seen the danger of someone like Tony Blair? I mean, I know if there was a poll between the different, who they think is better as Prime Minister, Tony Blair or Gordon Brown, Tony Blair would win. And yet look at the blood on his hands. Look what he led us to, and two illegal international wars that broke international law. In many of the accounts, who was, at the beginning, yes, a very good Prime Minister, but when he met George W. Bush, then power got to his head. So, just because he could speak nicely and get himself out of problems, that's why he would win this competition. And I just think that it's wrong that if Nick Clegg has asked for him to resign, so that and Gordon Brown has accepted to take the fall, so that his party can work with Lib Dems, because Nick Clegg won't work if Gordon Brown's there. I think that's absolutely disgusting, and I hope that it fails, and Lib Dems end up, getting, we have another election, and then one of the the Labour wins on its own, and Lib Dem can just go back to its minority then. Because I think the fact that Nick Clegg has been in the middle of this and has not been able to make a decision, which is, there's only one decision a Liberal Democrat can make, and it is not joining with the Tory party, it is joining with the Labour Party. And if he can't see that, then he's playing about. He's obviously playing out for power, or he's playing because he doesn't like the man who's the head of the Labour Party. I'm sure a lot of people didn't like Winston Churchill, but look, he was he was needed at the time. Just because you don't like someone doesn't mean they're not actually good at their job. Just because they don't have a way of speaking, Gordon Brown, I think, is not shy, but I think he's not so comfortable around words and these types of things. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to be a good Prime Minister, and I think that it's a shame that Nick Clegg has, or his party, or the pressure of the media, has insisted on the leader of the Labour Party to have to take the fall. And he's an honourable man to do that, because he doesn't have to do that. And it's funny how you get all these Tories and Lib Dems talking about it. If they were in exactly the same position, they wouldn't be resigning either, and they probably wouldn't do this honourable decision and actually take the fall in the end. So it really makes me laugh when parties talk about how they should people, the ones in power, should give up their reign because of this, that and the other. Yet if they were in the same circumstances, they would be doing exactly the same. They really shouldn't say things unless they actually really believe them. But I think that any respect that I had for Nick Clegg has gone since this debacle, because he has not acted in a proper manner. He likes his fame now. And he's going to be another Tony Blair for us, who's going to woo the crowds with his great way of talking and his good camera work and remembering people's names. But he's driven by power, because if he wasn't, there's no way he would have been talking so many times with the Tories. And if he ends up actually doing a deal with the Tories, then I think a lot of his supporters rightly would feel let down. But now I think that Gordon Brown has had to, I assume that this was come from the Lib Dems, that if he resigns, then Lib Dem will be more happy to actually partner with Labour, which is, I think that is a disgusting choice that they've given Gordon Brown, and I don't think that's honourable or British in any way. And I think they should be ashamed if this is what they have done. On saying that, I always thought David Miliband would make a good Prime Minister, so I'm hoping he will be the one to take over from Gordon Brown. And then I hope that Nick Clegg is given a very small position in this government, and he is used, I hope, by Labour. I hope Labour just use him to get into power, and then minority him as much as possible, because I think if he has made this, I don't know yet, but this will all come out, I'm sure, but that's what it seems to be suggesting on BBC News. If Nick Clegg has made this, and he has talked about it in the past, then I think he should be ashamed of Gordon Brown is a man, and he was a good Prime Minister, and just because he's not PR friendly, I think that's terrible. And the fact that so many people voted still for the Labour Party is testament that why he should have been kept. And I think it's not British or right or moral to suggest that the leader of a party should step down just because the media don't support him, because the public did, because they voted for him. Irrespective, they did. That's that's how it is. But because the media don't like him and they've drawn this picture of him, if I was a Lib Dem supporter, and I'm partly Lib Dem, partly Labour, that has certainly turned me off Nick Clegg now, that he's playing about with this when he really shouldn't be. Okay, take it easy, take care, God bless and peace.